But fellas, let's continue on with basketball, man. Of course, Angel Reese, Caitlin Clark. I mean, there was the foul by Caitlin Clark. Angel Reese got upset, was approaching Caitlin Clark, had to be restrained by teammates. Both of them downplayed the situation when they were discussing it. And Ryan Clark and RG3. RG3 went on his podcast and he said that Angel Reese hates Caitlin Clark. Ryan Clark went on the Pivot podcast and he talked about RG3. He talked about how he wasn't raised, how he doesn't really understand Black women in terms of how they go through, how they feel and stuff. And he mentioned about his wife. I was afraid this was going to happen. I felt like it was going to happen, champ. I could just sense from a mile away, BRF, I could just sense it was going to happen because something with Angel Reese, Caitlin Clark, one little thing, just like that, and we're having a conversation. And I'm glad that the WNBA is getting coverage and getting attention, but this is for the wrong reasons. And look, champ, we discussed this off the air. We talked about how there have been other fights, how there have been other calls, and they're not paying enough attention to that. To me, that's really nothing between Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark. Has anyone forgotten the LA Sparks Detroit Shock brawl back in 2008? Remember that? That was far worse. And people have lost sight of that, but because it's the Indiana Fever, Caitlin Clark, Chicago Sky, Angel Reese, the rivalry between these two going back to their days in college, it's still going to be a conversation. And yes, Angel Reese, the Caitlin Clark rivalry, that's great, but what about other things surrounding the WNBA? You mentioned, Cham, there's a big game tomorrow between the Fever and what? The New York Liberty?
Yes.
The reigning NBA champions? Breanna Stewart?
Sabrina Ionescu, Natasha Cloud, Jacqueline Jones, Jonquel Jones.
There's far more things to discuss, far more important things than this right here. And regarding RG3 and Ryan Clark, did I like the fact that Ryan Clark brought up RG3's wife? No, I don't. I felt like I felt like Ryan Clark, if you want to make a point, just don't bring up the wife, kids, none of that stuff. Because if you bring that up, that's an ultimate no. Obviously, no. Chad, you even told me before, hell, you get your ass whooped if you bring up the wife, kids, all that type of stuff.
These days, even worse.
Damn.
I mean, hey, look, let's just keep it a buck. People don't throw hands no more. And we'll leave it at that.
But RG3, did you check out RG3's tweets with all the
Stop! Don't do that. Don't.
No. But I'm just
look. RG3. You need to stop. Number one. That's. I don't. I'm gonna keep it funky. But back to what you were saying about basketball.
The thing I hate about it, Chad, is the fact that we're forgetting and not paying enough attention to the WNBA for all the other good reasons, the other good players. A'ja Wilson, you talked about how a dynasty with the Las Vegas Aces. You talked about who's going to be in the conversation for Rookie of the Year. Can A'ja Wilson win another MVP Defensive Player of the Year? There are so many other things that we could talk about, yet we're talking about Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark. That, to me, that play, that was nothing. We've seen far worse things in the WNBA. I just mentioned the brawl between the Detroit Shock and LA Sparks. Look, no, I mean, just go watch the video of Candace Parker because she could fight now.
Yeah.
But the whole thing with Ryan Clark and RG3, It's really unfortunate. And I hate to say this, champ, it's us as black people. And how is this going to help out the WNBA? What do we gain? What does the WNBA gain or benefit from? I feel like there are far more important things we should talk about the WNBA. But again, with Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark, had it not been for their platforms, nobody would be paying enough attention to this.
If you really want me to be honest with you, and I made a video about this and me and you had a discussion, I believe that a lot of media outlets, a lot of content creators that are not going about this the right way, I will say, I believe they're exploiting the WNBA just for clicks and views.
Yeah.
Because the thing is this, Kiki Ariafarin almost got into a fight in her debut. If you really look at it, if you go, look, I follow the WNBA. I follow her tone. When the WNBA players come out the tunnel with their outfits on, I follow that. I follow Overtime. I follow She Got Game. I follow WNBA Got Game. I follow all of that on social media. When Sonia Citron got bulldozed by Brittany Griner, they made a meme about that. Let me say that again. When Sonia Citron, the rookie from the Washington Mystics, got bulldozed on a screen by Brittany Griner, who plays for our Atlanta Dream, they made a meme about that. And everybody was in the comments just as laughing and being joyful and playing around. When Marina Mabrey got into it with someone, everybody was, but that's just how she is. When they were setting a hard screen, even when they set a hard screen on who can be one of the new faces of the WNBA on Paige Beckers, when Nafisa Correa was backing her down and kind of strong-arming her, people was like, welcome to the WNBA. Why can't we have that same energy when it comes to Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark? Why? It's basketball. People are using this to push their own narratives. People are using this to push dumb, you-know-what narratives, which have nothing to do with basketball. And these are new fans that don't watch basketball. These are new fans that don't watch basketball on both sides. You just can't claim on one side. Both sides is perpetuating bull jive, and that is what's messing up the game. Right now, what we should be talking about is this. We should be talking about Nafisa Correa coming back with a vengeance. We should be talking about A'ja Wilson, and then it's that dynasty in trouble. We should be talking about the potential of the Washington Mystics having not one, but two Rookie of the Year candidates with Sonia Citron and Kiki Ariafarin. Not to mention, the only reason why they're not even better than they are now is Georgia Amore is not there. She got injured in the preseason. They could potentially have a big three for years to come. We're not talking about that. We're not talking about how Brittany Griner, big ups to BRF Sports, how that front court in Atlanta, they on demon time, as BRF Sports said. We're not talking about that. We're not talking about the stories that's going to take the WNBA into the stratosphere. We're not even talking about the fact that their biggest acquisition in the form of DeWanna Bonner, that being the Indiana Fever, doesn't have but 9 points this year. How those 7 points against the Chicago Sky was the highlight of the year, because outside of that game, she only has 2 points. And she was supposed to be the one to come in and be the difference maker for this team, along with Aaliyah Boston, Casey Mitchell, and Caitlin Clark herself. We're not talking about those things. We're talking about one foul that has happened in each and every single WNBA game. And we're making it into something that it's not. And the main players, the main pieces in this game, the two queens of this game, are downplaying it in the media, while everybody's, including the mainstream media, is sitting up there running their mouth about it. Like I said, Are we really trying to watch the WNBA in order to put women's sports on a new plateau? In order to make it so where we have $1 million players in that sport? Are we really trying to advertise to bring out the best in these women so that during the collective bargaining agreement, they can have something else to talk about other than this? Or are we just going to, oh, my bad.
Apparently not, champ, because of all the reasons that you've mentioned. It's just driving. Why I'm so frustrated, champ. It's just upset because, again, we could be talking about all those things that you're mentioning, but yet still we keep talking about this.
Yeah.
How does this help out the brand? How does this help out women's sports in general? That doesn't do a damn thing. I mean, the way they treated Angel Reese, Caitlin Clark, damn, it was like they cut in a WWE promo or something.
Again, it doesn't help the game. They're not even talking about the potential of a big four out there in Los Angeles. The Los Angeles Sparks have the potential to have a big four, excuse me. Kelsey Plum, Rickea Jackson, Hamby, and Cameron Brink, the Cameron Diaz of the WNBA. We're not talking about those things. We're talking about that one thing, that one foul. And have you noticed mainstream media curse every last one of them outside of that story, have not talked about anything in the WNBA outside of that? They ain't even talk about Paige Becker's debut and how she drew and how that team drew over 600,000 viewers in her debut, in her first 2 games. Not on the Caitlin Clark level, but it's getting there. That's what we should be talking about. Instead, we're talking about a foul that both players have downplayed, have made into a race issue, have made into issues that we don't have no business talking about. New fans on both sides just now watching the WNBA, and they're trying to turn it into their own little narratives and everything like that. And the whole beef between RG3 and Ryan Clark is just perpetuating it the entire time. Why are you talking about this still? It's a foul. Get over it. Move on. It's a foul. Like I said, when Sonia Citron got bulldozed by Brittany Griner, go to WNBA Got Game. I love following that page. Go to it if you're watching. Go to it, and you'll see they made an entire meme about it. I mean, it's funny stuff going all over the internet when it comes to these WNBA players and them getting in the scuffles on the court, them being very, very physical. The WNBA is right now. Is what we are missing. What pure basketball fans say they are missing at this point. The physicality, the playing hard every game, the going out there just with that grit and that grind. That's what the WNBA is. Everything that we say we're missing in the WNBA. But instead, we want to take this one story and blow it up every single time. Look, I'm going to make this comparison, and I made this comparison on, I think it was our show, BRF. It's kind of like gangster rap. It's only so much controversy that you can live off of before the talent has to take over. And if all you got is the controversy, then eventually the sport is going to die down. Because what's going to happen if one of these great players get hurt? What happens if Angel Reese gets hurt? What happens if Caitlin Clark gets hurt? And the only thing that you base this narrative around is that rivalry. Then that's the only thing you based it around. Not realizing that you have a 2-headed monster, possibly a 3-headed monster at the Washington Mystics. You have that potential. The WNBA, here's the thing. The WNBA does not need controversy. It doesn't need controversy in order to sell. You need to showcase these young women's talent. And if you don't believe they have talent, look at the fact that A'ja Wilson sold out her shoes in less than 5 minutes. 5 minutes.
Yeah. And also you mentioned Chip, you mentioned Paige Becker's WNBA debut, 639,000 on Ion.
Exactly. And the arena sold out. We should be talking about all of these things, but instead, you could even be talking about the Seattle Storm, which I'm looking over my shoulder which I'm looking over my computer desk in order to see it right now. You could even be talking about how the Seattle Storm can make a run for it. But instead, all they want to sell in the media is controversy. You can't sell controversy forever. You can't. Because the thing is, what's happening is this. And the reason why I say you can't keep selling controversy over talent is this. Chicago Sky are not very good. They're not. They've been exposed these last 2 games. They've been exposed. That team is terrible. And I know people are going to point right to Angel Reese, but that entire team is terrible. They don't have the camaraderie and they don't have the continuity that they did last year under Coach Witherspoon. They don't have Kennedy Carter or Marino Mabry anymore. The point guard, yes, they don't have that. And it looks like that they did a bad job. They do a bad job when Angel Reese and Camila Cardozo are both on the floor. It's like you only need one big. You don't need 2 bigs on the floor of that caliber because they're the same player. So is this really going to be a rivalry for the foreseeable future, considering how terrible they are? No, indeed not. So guess what? You're going to have to sell talent now. And your opportunity is tomorrow. Shout out to Flash because he told me about that. Because I said firsthand on our pod, BRF, the game of the year early in the year was going to be the Indiana Fever versus the New York Liberty, the defending champions. Because the New York Liberty is stacked and the Indiana Fever is stacked. And this could be a preview of something great in the playoffs. That's what we should be talking about. You're not going to be able to sell the Chicago Sky versus Indiana rivalry. The Chicago Sky is not that good. They're not. And that's no knock or no shot at Angel Reese or none of those good players on that team. But they have a new coach. They have a new system. They're getting used to it. And guess what? The players are not in tune with that system as of yet. Sorry, but that's just the way it is. So you're not going to be able to sell the WNBA on this quote-unquote rivalry like you thought you were going to do. Guess what? You're going to have to reach in that bag just like David Stern did, just like Paul Tagliabue did in the NFL, and you're going to have to sell your stars and your new ones that are incoming. You're going to have to sell the Rookie of the Year race. You're going to have to sell the fact that the WNBA has never had a co-Rookie of the Year ever in its history, and the fact that they can not only have one this year, they can have them both from the same team. You're going to have to sell people on the fact that maybe, just maybe, New York has a dynasty on their hands. Maybe that the Las Vegas Aces dynasty is over. Oh, not to mention A'ja Wilson's a free agent next year. Where's she going to be with the new collective bargaining agreement? This is the stuff that you should be talking about, not a foul that we've seen. And the fact of the matter is that wasn't even the worst foul over the weekend.
That was nothing.
That was nothing. That was okay. It is what it was. But like I said, the media itself keeps exploiting this rivalry, and it's not a rivalry anymore because the Chicago Sky is not that good of a team. Do I believe that Angel Reese will make another All-Star game this year once she get used to that system? Yes, because it's fan voting. Everybody's going to get behind you regardless. So she's going to be in another All-Star game this year, regardless, I believe. Hey, could I be wrong? Yes. But the thing is this. You can't sell the Chicago Sky and the Indiana Fever like you sold the Boston Celtics versus the Philadelphia 76ers because the Sky is not that good. So you're going to have to reach in your bag and start selling to the public a lot of these other players that you have and all of the potential that you have in these other players. And the time is now. The time is now. And the thing is, you have a large market like Los Angeles that you can tap into. You have a great team out there. You have Washington, D.C., with the Washington Mystics. They have a big 2 right now, could turn into a big 3. You have Paige Beckers, who is a national champion. You're not even focusing on her because you're so busy focused on this foul. You're not even focused on the fact that the Phoenix Mercury, they're a darn good team right about now, and their new acquisition in the offseason. You're not focused on any of those things. You're strictly focused on that one thing. And notice this, like I said, the media is exploiting this. Notice this. They're not talking about any of these things. The minute that foul situation was over, they stopped talking about the WNBA. That just goes to show you how irresponsible the media is. And I'll rest that case right now.
Well, not only irresponsible, Champ, to say is irresponsible would be an understatement. I would say reckless. Because again, no, the reason why reckless applies because again, you can show the talent, but instead you chose not to, but you want to chose one foul, which wasn't even that hard of a foul. It wasn't even that egregious. Now, if it were like a more physical foul, if it were a flagrant 2, Champ, if there were even punches thrown or something like that, yes, we could understand. We would talk about it, Champ. We would talk about it. But this foul wasn't nothing. And I just hate the way, and as you perfectly articulated, far more other things that we could discuss. And far more we could do for the women in our sports. Champ, I'm afraid, though, for tomorrow's game, I hope that game between the New York Liberty and Indiana Fever is going to be as advertised as you and Flash mentioned. Because if not, and if we're just going to find something, we're going to probably ignore it. We're not going to pay enough attention to the WNBA. And if something happens, it's only because of controversy.
And it shouldn't be that way. Right now, we should be talking about this buildup as one of the biggest games of the season because everybody is expecting, and we even talk about it on our pod. We cover the WNBA a lot, the big three, well, the other big three. So I'm going to just be real. We cover that a lot. We've talked about it a bunch. And for the WNBA and ESPN and these sports leaders not to be building it up like guys like myself, like guys like BRF, like guys like Flash, like guys like even you, Sports PSP, that is a shame. You're trying to surround this thing. You're doing a disservice to these young women and their game.
And you're also doing a disservice to fans who actually are trying to learn about the WNBA. But the more you continuously not give enough coverage regarding the game, you're doing everyone a disservice. And Champ, I understand, as you told me, it's not fair. But what have you always told me before with double standards and other things?
Yeah, double standards are that double. I have, like I said, I have no problem with the double standards because we live with them every day. If you want to talk about double standards, and we talk, since we're on the subject of Memorial Day, hey, I was in the Army. It's always double standards when you're in the Army. But the thing is, the goal is not to promote a lot of bull jive. It's to promote these women and their talent, which they have a lot of in the WNBA. And the thing is, we should be talking about her tunnel. Do y'all realize what her tunnel is? It's kind of like basketball meets the runway. You watch her tunnel, BRF?
Yeah,
go to her.
I have to look it up.
Yeah, look. If you're watching right now, go to her tunnel. It's all the WNBA. People keep talking about Angel Reese walking down that aisle, strutting. Go to her tunnel on social media and watch it. Because it shows what the WNBA players, what they be wearing, how they be styling, how they come into the arena. They show all of that. That's what they should be advertising. Just like in the NBA. When them dudes come in there with them ugly ass shoes on and them suits on and stuff like that, show it. Show it exactly how we show it with them. Show it. So let's do that. Advertise her tunnel. Show them the social media pages. Show them where they can follow. Show them how they can keep up with the players. Showcase these players. Showcase these players going into their community. Tell everybody that the fact that WNBA League Pass is only $34 a year. $34.
Just $34?
Yes, $34 flat a year.
Good, because I'm gonna buy that.
Buy it. Buy it. Because if you pay for it by the month, it's $12 a month. So guess what? That's what we should be talking about. We should be advertising League Pass. We should be making documentaries about these players. We should be having team documentaries about how the Liberty came to be last year, how they dethroned the Las Vegas Aces, how they did that. That's what we should be doing, advertising the sport. It's only so much controversy that you can live off of before it eventually goes away. And then you have to live off talent again. The WNBA, when Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese first hit the scene, they need to say this is our biggest opportunity in order to market the league, in order to make sure that we're paying attention, in order to make sure that we have 24-hour coverage, in order to make sure that we list the trades that's going on, in order to make sure that we're paying attention to the collective bargaining agreement, to make sure that we're putting out every single sellout that they have so they don't lose money, to put the word out on the ticket sales, to put the word out on every little thing that they had, to put the word out on the biggest game, to put the word out on Paige Bueckers versus Caitlin Clark, the future, both the rookie of the year, the potential rookie of the year versus the potential league MVP in late June. That's what we should be putting the word out. It's only so much controversy you could sell before eventually you have to rely on talent. And when that talent is no longer there and you're still living off controversy, then guess what? Eventually conversations die out. Don't believe that. Look at what happened to Death Row Records.
BRF, is there anything you want to add to the conversation, my brother?
I feel like the whole Angel Reese, Caitlin Clark. I just feel like all that is just like, I don't know. I feel like if the bias is already predisposed and you already like and you're already on the side, I feel like this does really nothing to really cause a healthier conversation. Um, I mean, it's a shame it's gotten to this point because we remember the draft last year. Remember how hyped it was. We remember like, you know, going into last season, like the amount of talent that was like leaving college basketball to come into the WNBA was nothing short of just, we were saying like this could finally be the draft class that really kind of pushes it over and really takes things by the horns. But every time something happens, it's like, I don't know, it's unnecessary drama. Just it's a lot of it unnecessary. And like with Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark, like I've seen some postings and stuff, the people look like talking about like how this is not a rivalry and everything. Like, with how Caitlin Clark is kind of like really really kind of separated herself from Angel Reese. And so, people are like, oh, well, look at Caitlin compared to her. This is not a rivalry. And then I'm thinking to myself, like, I saw somebody made this point on one of the shows is like, there have been rivals as far as like, you have like the one superstar and then you have like the star that's like not necessarily at that talent as an individual, but still like go back to Michael Jordan and Isaiah Thomas. Like that wasn't. As good of a player as Isaiah Thomas was, you're not gonna dare say Isaiah Thomas is every bit the player that Michael Jordan was at his peak. You're not about to. Yeah. So people are saying like, oh, this isn't a rivalry because Caitlin's separating herself from Angel. You can have rivals. Isn't always necessarily like, you know, the best and the second best record in the league, or like your top two, possible, top two for MVP going at each other. It's I just feel like it's a lot of unnecessary things, and it's a lot of things that are just really kind of polluting the environment as comes to like talking about sports and talking about what's relevant and what's going on. I'm like PSP, like with the whole the whole RG3 Ron Clark thing, I don't think a lot of people were really surprised that was about to happen. I mean, that was basically a powder keg waiting to go up. And then RG3 said what he said about Angel Reese, and just boom, that's it. They already beefing anyway, so it doesn't. It's not going to take much for them to talk about the other, because they already got beef, so it's not going to take much. So I just feel like there's more productive and more healthy conversation that we could be having about the WNBA besides Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark, about a foul that, whether Caitlin Clark fans want to hear it or not, in that situation, it's kind of the right call. It's kind of the right call. Yeah, she swatted at her. I get the whole trying to get her to go to the free throw line, but in no way, shape, or form were you hitting the ball. It was mainly just for Angel Reese's arm. So, the fact that that ref looked at it, reviewed it, and changed it to a flagrant one, it's pretty understandable because, Caitlin in that situation wasn't going for the ball at all. If I'm Ryan Clark about this, I wouldn't have taken the route he took initially, going after RG3's wife like that. Come on, man. Everybody know that man married to a white woman. It's common knowledge. It's not hidden. It's not hidden in outer space anymore. We know he's married to a white woman, and I talked about this before. A lot of times with relationships like that, even though a lot of people kind of smile, kind of don't really, they kind of smug at it. But it's like a lot of those relationships materialized and developed over time. Like a lot of times they're with this guy through thick and thin, which is basically like a breath of fresh air when you consider some of the other things that are going on in the world today. But yeah, I think a good bit of it is forced too, particularly the Angel Reese hate. I think a lot of it's forced. We get it. Offensively, her game isn't as developed as you hoping it would be, but it's gonna come with time. It's gonna come with time. Um, it's just it's for me the whole thing is just unfortunate. It's just unfortunate, and I'm glad Ryan Clark got on the Pivot podcast and really kind of expressed himself and say what he said. Basically, apologize for the situation. Shouldn't have shouldn't have brought his shouldn't have brought his you know he shouldn't have brought RG3's wife. Or Ryan Clark shouldn't have brought RG3's wife in the conversation. He shouldn't have brought her up. At the end of the day, it's you two and you're going after each other. He didn't have to go after his wife like that. Now did she ain't necessarily left herself in like good graces with a lot of people as far as like some of the actions, some of the things she may have, that she's done. But at the end of the day, a situation like that, the family's off limits. You can't do that. And Ryan Clark needed to go on his pod and apologize for that, and just kind of explain his thought process, but understand at the end of the day that was not the right move. But I will say this too: I don't like the attention that is brought, like that. I don't like the attention that a lot of fans are bringing to this because a lot of the fans aren't necessarily like I don't know. They're not in it to support the player. It's like they're not in it to support the player. They're in it. They really want to witness is the drama and all that other stuff. It gives them an excuse to really like lay in to one of the two. Whether you like or don't like Angel Reese, or whether you like or don't like Caitlin Clark. A lot of this stuff is really just. As a society, we need to have conversations, the uncomfortable conversations. We need to do that honestly if you want this country as a whole to really thrive and really get past a lot of this stuff. But yeah, like the social media and everybody talking about this, like they're not helping the situation. If anything, they're just throwing more gas on the fire. So you just really hope eventually, we can get out of this whole situation and really get back to focusing on the WNBA at hand because the WNBA is loaded. They have a lot of really good players. They have a lot of really good teams. Like I hope this is like the first time in a while we see like true WNBA parity because, like I said, I think I got about 5-6 teams off the top of the dome that have a shot to win a WNBA title this year. But the fact that we're talking about Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese instead of focusing on the play of the players, it's a disservice. It's a disservice to them because ultimately, I get in the short term that that old Eric Bischoff, that old Eric Bischoff autobiography, controversy creates cash. I mean, we get that, but at the same time, like you can only do this. You can only go this angle so many times before honestly people are gonna get tired of it and they're not going to want to watch it because they're tired of hearing the news. They're tired, watching Sports Center, stuff like that. Of hearing, this person has snapped again, or this person's done this, or and all this, and just like I don't know. They just need to get to a point where it's just more along the lines of just healthy competition and a healthy rivalry, not this. And you hate it because honestly, when you go back to their days in college, you kind of saw that you kind of saw this coming. You kind of saw this coming, and bringing
Oh, it was
fans.
anticipated. It was
Oh, it was
anticipated.
exactly extremely anticipated. We kind of knew this was coming, but we don't want it to get to a level where it takes away from the WNBA, and then people start watching because they're tired of controversy and they're tired of the drama. It's like, oh, what are they gonna talk about? What are they gonna talk about it now for? And people eventually will get tired of that because there's no substance behind the style. You need the substance behind the style in order to really take your product to the next level. In this case, you need the gameplay to offset and really cancel out the drama. Otherwise it's not going to do the WNBA any good. Um, but one more thing before we move on. I like just IG post, Twitter, and all just all of that. I mean, you like I said, you just hope eventually we can get past this and worry about good basketball. With all due respect to RG3 and Ryan Clark, I'm already tired of hearing about them. We know they beefing. We know they don't like each other. Ryan Clark should have took the approach better, but at the same time, I do look at RG3 and what he said about Angel Reese. I don't like that anymore either because I mean you can't assume someone hates this person or someone's jealous of this person. Now, is Angel Reese a little jealous of Caitlin Clark? I mean, even if she is, I mean, what does it matter in the grand scheme of things? What does it matter? It doesn't. Because ultimately at the end of the day, you still gotta get on the court and you still gotta ball out for your team and help them win. And I don't know. That foul when it happened, I mean, we knew what was coming, we knew what to expect, but I kind of feel like the degree that it's hit is like it's getting to unbearable levels, and it's getting to the and it's getting to like the casual fan, they're gonna turn away from the product because they're tired of hearing about it, the drama and all this. They're tired of hearing all about this. So yeah, I mean, really, yeah, really, they really don't have too much more to add to it other than just it's a situation just blown way out of proportion, and I don't like one sector of fans. Something like this gives them an excuse to go out and just talk reckless and be crazy. That's the one thing I don't like about it because like it's just as a totality taken away from the talent that the WNBA has had, which is obviously some of the best since the inception of the league itself. So hopefully we get back to better grounds and talk about them in like in a healthy fashion as opposed to like, oh, what did Caitlin Clark do this time, or what did Angel Reese say or do this time. Like eventually we gotta find some type of common ground or just something and just move it away and push it to the side because at the end of the day, I mean, ultimately, what's going to decide everything is how those girls play on the court. Ultimately, is what we're going to is what's going to decide it. So it really just needs to get to that point where everybody can kind of move on and be happy with the product that the WNBA is going to give us this year because the WNBA is going to give us a really really good product this year, and I feel it. But this controversy is gonna bottom everything out if they're not careful. They need to find a way to nip it in the bud. You know, they need to do something with Angel and Caitlyn as far as just, you know, helping remind fans at the end of the day, yeah, we might have a little thing going between us as far as like the rivalry going back to college, but at the end of the day, there's still a mutual respect. There's still a mutual respect there for the two, knowing what they bring to the table. So that's really about all I got left to say out of that one. It's just an unfortunate situation that has come to this.
Go ahead, big homie.
You know what? I'm not trying to be that guy, but with the Ryan Clark RG3 situation, you remember when you was a kid, right? And you knew you was kind of on thin ice with one of your parents. You knew you was kind of on thin ice with your parents, right?
Yeah.
And so they kind of looking for something to whoop your ass by. That's what I think about the Ryan Clark RG3 situation. It's just like Ryan Clark was like, I'm waiting on my opportunity to mess this dude up. And it's just like he said that one thing, then boom, dead weight. And you got to ask yourself, because they was already beefing before that. They
were teammates at one point when they used to play at Washington.
Yeah.
And speaking of RG3, it goes back. Do you think it goes back to what Rob Parker once said about him on First Take? Remember the controversial comments Rob Parker said about RG3?
Yeah, I remember that. And Rob Parker, I'll stand by this to this day. He was still out of line for saying that.
He was. When he apologized.
And he did. And the thing is, look, we don't need a lot of that within the community at this point, because guess what? We're all unique. And the thing is, look, there's a lot of guys like RG3. Does that make them less than what we are? No. Just because every guy don't have that edge to him doesn't make you any less of a black man than anybody else. So guess what? I'm not like my brother used to be. You know, and me and him grew up in the same house. So guess what? Does that make me any less black than him? No. Now, RG3 does not do himself any favors with these little milk jokes and stuff like that, because it's just like, bro.
Especially when he's doing the discussion, champ. Sorry to cut you off, champ. When he's giving his take, you see his wife in the background, and it kind of made me cringe, though. It did.
RG3, look, man, let's just keep it all the way 100. RG3, this is not the first cringy thing that he has done. He's done a lot. Look, from the IG pros to saying, proving all of those blanks wrong on live television, making Steve Young, Ryan Clark, and everybody else cringe. This ain't the first. He's always been cringe. Eating them darn croissants and all of that, and people was getting on to him about that. This ain't the first cringy thing that he did. It just came at a time where everybody was like up in arms about a certain subject that really shouldn't have been a story in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
It shouldn't have been a story in the first place. Right now, we have Kiki Ariaffin, who is one of the best rookie power forwards coming into the league. She facing off against Asia Wilson. Are we talking about that right about now? No, because we're focused on a foul. And like I said, on First Take, they have not talked about anything WNBA related. Not the Rookie of the Year race, not the Most Improved Player race, not even the fact that the Dallas Wings, with all of the free agent acquisitions that they had, that include Dejanay Carrington, and they have Agumba Wale and Paige Beckers at this point in time. They haven't even talked about the fact, well, maybe there's just too many scorers on this team. They haven't even talked about that fact. So when the controversy die out, are you going to stop talking about the sport? And is it going to be up to content creators like us to keep the story going? Or are you going to do this the right way? There's a right way and a wrong way to do a lot of things. And as far as RG3, the stuff he did has always been a little bit on the cringy side. It's just always been cringy. Like I said, what he did was cringy at a time where everybody was looking for something to say about somebody. And like I said, you have to ask yourself, they was beefing before that even went on. And you heard him talk about it even in the post that he had on his Twitter page about why the beef was on. And so they was beefing beforehand. So like I said, you have to ask yourself this. Like I said, it was kind of like when you
actually, I got the tweet right here from Ryan Clark, champ. Yeah. Bruh, you know what it is with me and you. I saved you the entire season on Monday Night Football. I urge people to let you be you. No matter how corny, how bad of a teammate you were, I had your back. What did you do? Invite someone on your show you know I don't fool with to ask questions about me and then hit me weeks later to tell me you're going to challenge one of my takes? You're a phony, bro. One of the worst teammates I ever had, both on the field and in TV. You got to do what you got to do. I didn't attack your wife. I spoke on what you do on social media and TV. Like I said, I met your wife and she seemed like a lovely lady that was worth more than the color of her skin. You be good, bro.
Again, it's kind of like your mom and dad. You kind of skating on thin ice and they looking for a reason to put that belt on you. And that whole situation with RG3, him going on his podcast, his own standalone podcast, was Ryan Clark's reason to come into that room and kick down the door and put that belt to him. That was the reason. Like I said, a lot of times when we are beefing with somebody, we looking for a reason to either put our hands on them or air them out like a ceiling fan. Looking for a reason. And you looking to, it's just like, it's kind of like when you see it in action movies. When you got the good guy saying, give me a reason today. Go ahead, make my day today. And it seemed like that's what RG3 did. He made Ryan Clark's day that day. And guess what? That was the day that was made, and he aired him out. And like I said, he was already beefing before. It was just that reason that I need to attack you at this point. Because now you're in my realm. You're within my realm of something that I can talk about. Now I can attack you the way I want to talk about it. You have to ask yourself, was that really the full reason? Was the whole reason why you said what you said? Was it because of the Angel Reese file and things of that nature and what he was saying and all the little milk jokes and stuff like that? Or was you looking for a reason to attack him all along? I think it's the first.
All I'm saying is, champ, this shit better end. This shit better end because I'm getting tired of talking about the whole Angel Reese, Caitlin Clark situation. Other than game and the basketball itself, I don't want to talk about this shit no more because it's getting nauseating. Sooner or later, eventually fans are going to get tired of it. And then, as to your point, once the controversy is over, what are you going to sell? You still have the talent, but you refuse to do it. Because to you and your eyes, it's not that important. And it's a damn shame because what more do you need in order? Do y'all need to wear? No, I don't want to say glasses because Champ wearing glasses. I don't want to insult people wearing glasses. But do y'all need to wear glasses? Do y'all need to wear something for y'all to watch the game? I mean, look, I haven't watched WNBA basketball as much compared to I used to back in my early days in Haiti, going back to Carol Lawson, the Sacramento, the basketball team, Sue Bird, and all the others. But I'm trying to get back into it now. But Chad, nowadays, like when I talk to my friends about it or even family members, they sleep on it. They sleep on it. Like my brother, as soon as I mentioned the WNBA, allow me to demonstrate. That's how he feels about the WNBA. And it's a damn shame because, wait a minute, some of these basketball players, they are good. Now, if you're not a fan of the WNBA, if you don't want to watch the product, that's fine. All right, fine. It's up to you. But I don't think. What I'm trying to say is, Champ, I think it's going to take a long ass time in order for the WNBA to grow as a brand.
The NBA has so much talent at this point in time in this league. This is how talented these women are. Let's just break it down. The WNBA is so talented at this point that the star of the preseason, which was Deja Kelly on the Las Vegas Aces, she got cut from the team. The WNBA is so talented at this point and so loaded with talent that the Valkyrie, who is an expansion team, they cut 2 of their first round picks this year, and they just went into existence this year. That's how talented you have to be in order to be in that league. Let me say that again. They are so this league is so talented that an expansion team, which is the Valkyrie, who sold out their first 3 games of their new WNBA team, they cut 2 of their first round picks and they just went into existence. That's how talented this league is at this point. So guess what? There's a lot of talent to showcase. There's a lot of talent that you can latch on to. Whether it's A'ja Wilson, whether it's Caitlin Clark, whether it's Angel Reese, whether it's, Paige Beckers. You have players that aren't even in the WNBA anymore that you latch on to. Everybody wants to see Deja Kelly signed to a team because of how good she played the preseason with the Las Vegas Aces. But they see that it's just a team so stacked right now that she's not going to get that much playing time. Everybody can't wait to see what Hailey Van Lith is going to do. Hailey Van Lith, excuse me. Everybody's waiting to see what Georgia Amore is going to do when she comes back from that injury, and can they be a big 3? These are the subjects you have to talk about in order to plant the seed in everybody's mind. These seeds that are planted in football, basketball, and every other sport, they're not just planted because, they're there. They're planted because we're talking about it. We talk about Dallas as a contender because it's planted in our mind the minute a trade goes down and the fact that everybody's talking about it. We talk about the fact that Pittsburgh may not be that good this year. Why? Because it's planted in our mind by the media. Hey, they may not be good. So those are the seeds that you need to start planting in people's mind. The Rookie of the Year race. Last year, the Rookie of the Year race was a big topic. You mean to tell me with Paige Beckers, one of the highest, a young lady who came from the most touted program in the history of college basketball, won under Coach Gino, who drew over 600,000 in ratings. You mean to tell me that nobody's anxious to see her and Kiki Ariafrin and Sonia Citron competitive in the rookie MVP race? Everybody wants to see that, but the media is not selling it. They want to sell controversy. It's only so long you can live off that controversy before the talent has to kick in. This is your opportunity, especially if Caitlin Clark ends up going through the playoff and playing these teams. That is your opportunity to showcase these players, because the Indiana Fever is on every single game this year on television. Nearly all of their games are on television. This is your opportunity to bring up these other players, to bring up the ones that you would like to showcase. Right now, outside of Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese, everybody's talking about A'ja Wilson because of her shoes, the commercial that she had with Nike, the fact that Barack Obama's daughter directed the commercial. Those are the things that you have to latch on and talk about. The fact that A'ja Wilson and the Las Vegas Aces, even before Caitlin Clark came into the league, was selling out all of their home games for 3 consecutive years while they were while they was going to the finals and winning championships. Those are the things that you need to be talking about so that the people on the quote unquote street can come into and they can latch on to it.
Yes. Well said, brother. And also breaking news, Pacers defeated the New York Knicks.
New York, big city and dreams, and everything in New York ain't always what it seems. You might get food if you come from out of town. Oh, man, I got to call my father after this. He hates the Knicks, so I have to call him after the show's over.
114-109 Indiana Pacers. Pascal Siakam.
Spicy
15 to 23, 3 from 5 from downtown, 39 points, 5 rebounds. 3 assists. Tyrese Halliburton didn't have the greatest night shooting, 5 of 16, but he did have 11 rebounds, almost had a triple-double, 14, 8, and 11. Naismith, 12 points, 4-7 shooting. Miles Turner, 16 points. Andrew Nembhard, 12 points. It's 2-0 right now, and it's not looking good for New York right now. A lot to be concerned. Now, New York, they are good on the road come postseason, but it's not looking good for Stephen A. Smith. Stephen A. Smith is probably throwing up right now. And quite honestly, I'm kind of loving it because I can't stand Knicks fans from time to time, man. Hey, listen, man, go New York, go New York, go. Hey, you got game 3, game 4, you got to worry about at Indiana. You know that fan base is going to be packed. Mike Epps, who is an Indiana Pacers fan, is going to probably show up to the court. Reggie Miller is going to probably do what he can, even though he's working for TNT. But again, he knows a thing or two about Indiana. So Indiana, that fan base is going to be packed.